Hello, kings and queens and everybody in between. Welcome back to another episode of the Goddess Complex. I'm Ashley Michelle, your host and resident witch. If you're watching on the YouTube, hey baby. If you're not, get subscribed on the YouTube. We have some such good content coming out on the YouTube very soon. So you all know the Goddess Complex is very much about spirituality, building spiritual businesses, living our best lives, personal development, aliens, witchcraft, magic, wisdom, all of that. The YouTube is about all of those things plus some. So on the YouTube, you're going to get my workouts, you're going to get my food, a day in the life of my food, you're going to get my try on hauls, you're going to get a whole bunch more of Ashley and my universe. So go subscribe. How we doing, friends? How we doing, family? It's been a while since I've done a bad episode, so I figured I'd give you one because y'all like those. And today we're talking about something near and dear to my heart. It's a few things. So my business school for baby witches is open for enrollment right now. So if you're a baby witch, a baby mystic, if you're somebody who's in business and looking to scale, looking to make more money, looking to call in more clients, if you have an idea but you have no clue where to start, any of that, all of that, the link is down in the show notes to apply. But it got me thinking, a lot of you all don't know what the fuck I do, right? Like, what does she do for a living? And how did she get to a point where she could podcast from her bed? And what is this baby school for baby witches? Like, what are we doing in there, right? So today, darlings, that's what we're talking about. We're going deep in the life of Ashley and how I got here, right? So I have been in business now for 5, 6 years, something along those lines. StarseedShadows, my business name, is an Aquarius. Okay. She was born during Aquarius season, darling, which is very fitting because some of the core values and beliefs of StarseedShadows are very much in alignment with the energy of Aquarius, authenticity, integrity, standing up for the little guy, being who you are, all of that stuff, right? Very much Aquarian vibes. And honestly, babes, I was working in the food service industry with all my degrees. I know, I was one of those. Um, not happy. I was definitely not being appreciated. There was a lot of favoritism, dare I say racism, in some of the places that I worked in. Fat phobia was definitely a thing too. Um, I had experienced a lot of shit, for lack of a better word. A lot of shit, a lot of folks gaslighting me into thinking that I was less than what I really was inside of those spaces. And I stayed in those spaces because the money was good. And I was also in a loop. I was in a loop of robbing Peter to pay Paul, of like, making my tip money and spending my tip money and not giving a fuck about it because I would just make more tip money the next day, and doing that over and over again, and going out and partying and drinking way too much, and just doing things that were not in alignment with the highest version of myself, my soul, my oversoul, right? I was very much so stuck. And I've told this story before if you've been following me for a while, but it's worth repeating since we have so many new folks in our universe, friends. And welcome family, welcome on in. Um, is during my Saturn return, and if you're unfamiliar with your Saturn return is essentially when Saturn comes right back to where it was in your birth chart. So, for example, in your birth chart, also known as natal chart, if Saturn is in Aquarius, for example, when Saturn, transiting Saturn, Saturn up there in the sky, comes back to Aquarius, you are going through your Saturn return. We have about 3 Saturn returns in our lifetime, and our Saturn returns can often be points of friction. The most well-known one is that 28 to 30 time period, right? Lots of change tends to happen to us around that time period. I want you to go ahead and think back if this was a few years for you, or if you're in that time period right now, or if you're coming up to that time period. What went on? What's going on? What do you want to happen in that 28 to 30-ish realm, right? For most of us, we can think of very important points of change, right? Not necessarily disruption, not necessarily chaos, although it can be both, but change, feeling a bit uprooted from what you knew, what you thought you knew. And that was my experience, right? I had been living this lifestyle for so long. I had put on a bunch of weight, as a lot of you know. I was in a relationship with an alcoholic, for sure. And we were feeding each other's addiction type vibe. Um, and I remember during my Saturn return getting on my knees. I had lived next to a church at that time. It was Sunday morning, and the church bells started going off. I'm not even joking. And the after party was always at my house. And I remember looking at my ex, my boyfriend at the time, passed out drunk on the couch. People had just left my house. There were empty beer bottles everywhere. And I just remember thinking, this ain't it. Like, this ain't it. It was like this light bulb. It gets me emotional to think about because I can viscerally feel how sad I was. Oh my God, I'm making emotional with you guys. I can feel how sad I was, and frustrated and lost and not understanding like why things weren't working. And I got on my knees, friend. And again, we've got new people here. So I have a background in religion. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I've got family that still goes to church. I have two Bibles in my home, contrary to what you might have heard or seen. If it didn't come from my mouth, don't believe it. I have two Bibles at my house. Um, so there's always this part of me that has a soft spot for religion, if you'll say. And I'm very spiritual and I believe in God, just not in the religious POV of what God is, right? That's a different podcast for a different time. But those church bells went off and I got on my knees in my kitchen and I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like what are we doing here? This ain't it. Like there's so much more that I have to give. And I feel sick. My throat hurts from all the cigarettes. I'm sick of looking at my boyfriend passed out drunk. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I'll never forget that moment. During that time was when I decided to go back to school. School's always been a safe haven for me. Shortly thereafter, and I decided to get my master's. And my undergraduate is in conservation biology. So I did the majority of my traveling during my undergrad. And I wanted to continue on with that. I wanted to work in something like ecotourism was the thought at the moment, just doing something like that. So I chose a private school here in Rochester, New York, and I enrolled in a master's program and studied hospitality, tourism, and management and learned a shit ton. I learned so much. Um, Inside of that space, I also learned about entrepreneurship. Simultaneously, while that was happening, Age of Aquarius, Instagram was getting bigger. It was probably bigger than what I'm saying. I just wasn't really into it at that point, you know, but I had been noticing that there were folks on IG reading tarot. And I'm like, I've been reading tarot. They're like going live, they're offering readings, and I'm like, wait, hold on. I've been doing that. I hate my job. I'm aggressively underappreciated. I can't save a dime doing it. I'm sick of partying. I'm trying to get my master's and do something with myself and with my life. And then I'm learning about entrepreneurship. And this is the beauty of the Saturn return, right? Because the Saturn return, Saturn, the planet of discipline, karmic debt, and time, will put certain things in your path to help you see something more clearly than you had before. That's the beauty of Saturn. So, literally, I'm having this come to Jesus moment on my kitchen floor. Shortly thereafter, I decide to re enroll in school. While I'm in school, I learn about this entrepreneurial space, which I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. That was never anything that was even in my wheelhouse that I even considered doing ever, ever. And while that's going on, I am seeing stuff on social media about people that are doing exactly what I have been doing for, at that time, 7 years. And so there I am, just like putting the puzzle pieces together, putting all the dots together. And I'm like, let me learn more about this. This is when the Sagittarius in me starts coming out. And I'm like, okay, what are they doing? How are they doing this? I'm learning Instagram at this point, right? And before that, I had boycotted IG, boycotted it. You know that saying, like, if they don't catch it on camera, what is it? Like a photo or it's not real? Photo or it didn't happen. Hated that saying. Hated it. And I boycotted the fuck out of it. Aquarius moon over here, rebellious child. So when I realized that I could do something online, I was like, okay, so I have to learn this system. So that's what I did. I started learning this online platform. I started learning what the people were doing. I started understanding it, right? And I started building my shit up. I was already super confident in my tarot and my work, but I also wasn't like I was still kind of a closeted witch, if you will. I wasn't running around with my tarot cards. Some people knew I did it, some people didn't know I do it, and I definitely didn't tell my family about it. So I created my own Instagram. I found a name for my business. I'll never forget one of my girlfriends, shout out Nina, help me one day at Tap and Mallet figure out the name. I'm getting all emotional with you guys about this. I'm just going back down memory lane, like thinking about baby Ash and like everything that I've accomplished since that moment, since like, I was just a girl with a fucking idea. Whew. I wasn't expecting this. I'm sorry, friend. My Cancer rising is like, whew. I was just a girl with an idea. And now I am just overwhelmed at how beautiful life has become. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I want that same for you. I want, like, if you are the girl with the idea right now, like, it can be, you can do this. It can happen. You can create something. You can work for yourself and be comfortable. You can. I don't come from a rich family. There's no silver spoon in my mouth. The only other entrepreneur in my family is my cousin, and we grew up together, and we weren't even on speaking terms. Another podcast, another day, when we were both building our businesses. Her Aries ass was building her business while my Sagittarius ass was building mine. And then when we got back together, we both are like, holy shit, you're both in business. Crazy. Um, but yeah, I'll never forget at Chapin Mallet, right by the POS system. If you know, you know. My friend Nina and I were going back and forth on names for the business, and we happened upon StarseedShadows because I am Starseed. I identify as Starseed, Lyran Starseed, Pleiadian Starseed over here. And I'm a shadow worker. It was through the depths of my shadows was I able to uncover my light, right? It was through the deepest form of shadow work where I was able to really commit to building this brand, this business. Was I able to commit to finally dropping the weight that has fucking plagued me my entire fucking life? Entire life. I've been able to do things that I never thought that I could do because I chose to work with and integrate my shadow, you know? So StarseedShadows was what it was. Um, and we just built, and I want to tell you something, friend. We make time for that which we value, and that is very important, especially in the world of entrepreneurship. We make time for what we value, and a lot of people don't want to hear that, right? Because we love to say, I don't have time. It's like our favorite thing. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I just don't. But in reality, you have time for what you make time for. And so Baby Ash did that. She made time to learn how to post and learn what copy was, which is like the verbiage underneath your posts and like email copy and stuff like that. Understand how to do email marketing and create a community with other entrepreneurs. I created an Instagram page for StarseedShadows and I built it from the ground up. You know how like when you create an Instagram page and it asks you if you want to import like friends from Facebook and stuff like that? I was still closeted, so I said no. And I built my Instagram page, which is now Ashley Michelle 90 Day. It's the same thing. I just changed the name. But that was built from the ground up, from the ground up. Um, and I posted and I talked about my work and I cultivated a deeper relationship with the tarot and I created my tarot journals and I meditated and I had conversations with God and I read books and I wrote in my journals and I did the sensory deprivation tanks and I loved on myself and I got back into the gym and I got back into teaching spin and I went back to the things that I loved. And my ex and I both decided, right around the time where I was graduating, the last time I saw him was right around the time where I graduated my master's program. He went to my graduation and it was kind of mutual that we both realized that we were toxic together and it wasn't going to work. It wasn't. And I wish peace and blessings upon him, nothing but that, because he was pivotal in my transformation in a very subconscious way. Um, and I just really focused on like, what the fuck are we doing here? Running it back to the beginning of what I was thinking on my kitchen floor. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? We are building here, right? And this is when I got really close with Lilith. And those of you that have been with me for a while are very familiar with that. I work with the dark goddess Lilith. And Lilith walked with me through my shadow work. And this is when I got really deep on my weight. And this is my story, right? Um, for me, my weight was something that was hindering my personal growth and hindering my ability to be a spiritual practitioner, teacher, and mentor for me. And it was hindering that because my weight gain was a trauma response. That's what it was. My weight was a security blanket for me. And I say it this way to you, friend, because I don't want anybody to feel like you have to lose weight to be successful, or like you can't be a successful spiritual practitioner if you are overweight. That's not what I'm saying. We all have different journeys with our bodies. For me, for me, I was being a hypocrite, friend. I was being a hypocrite. I could not create safe spaces for spiritual development and alignment when I couldn't even take a picture of myself. I didn't realize how heavy I'd gotten. And so that was a big thing. And I really didn't realize that the dark goddess Lilith was walking with me throughout the whole thing. The very first course that I created for sale was on Lilith. A lot of people don't realize we all have Lilith points in our astrology, and our Lilith points help us work with our shadow. I do Lilith sessions at StarseedShadows.com. You can book one. It's the shadow work session. And you can also get the Lilith course too. I'll make sure that we have it in the show notes for you. But yeah, so Lilith was a very big deal, a lot of work within the Starseed Shadows universe, right? She kind of rode with me. So I created this course and I'm selling this course. I'm selling my tarot readings, I'm selling my astrology readings, all of that. And then I happen upon this account, this astrologer, right? And she is hosting this sort of like business school, kind of like SIREN, my business school, but a bit different, right? Um, it's more so, you know, for people who are trying to figure out this universe. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I had never heard of that. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know about investing in mentorship and coaching or anything like that. And so I look into it and I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I did it, signed up for it, and got all the fundamentals. And this is one of my points too. Stop trying to do it alone. I created SIREN so you don't have to do it alone. I created SIREN because SIREN ties up the loose ends that you can't find on Google or YouTube, right? I wish I would have known when I started out my business, right? And how to make it something that is successful and sustainable over a long period of time. Not just a for now, but a forever. My business has made more money every year. Every year we've made more money. Of course, there are some months that are lower than others, but at the end of the year, we've netted more money. I want that for you. I want that for you. And inside of SIREN, it's an acronym. It stands for Sacred Initiation for Rebel Entrepreneurial Newbies, right? And so what SIREN is for somebody who A, has an idea about something that they want to create into the universe. B, they already have that idea and they've started doing the work. Or C, they're actively taking clients inside of this very niched arena, but their money isn't stabilized, right? They're making maybe a few $100s, sometimes a few $1,000s, sometimes nothing. Like their money's not stabilized and they're trying to figure that out, or they don't have a cohesive brand, all of that good stuff, right? That's who SIREN is here to serve. And if you're any of those people, I urge you to do the application. It takes 6 minutes, not that long at all, and hop on a call with me and we can talk about where you are at and where you desire to be and how we can get you there, because it is possible, babe. You don't need a shit ton of followers. You don't need somebody investing $1,000 in your business, thousands of dollars in your business. You need the confidence codes to do so. And you need to take the first step. And mentorship for me was like super important. I've invested in mentorship multiple occasions. I have business mentors right now. I believe in mentorship. Entrepreneurship should not be done alone. Spiritual work should not be done alone. Spiritual mentorship should not be done alone. Okay. Shadow work should not be done alone. We don't heal alone. We're not meant to heal alone. Age of Aquarius, AKA Age of Community. None of this is meant to be done alone. And I know it's easier to do things alone because we have this like idea in our head that like I can do bad by myself. Like that was always my thing. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I was always super independent. Let my mom tell it. I potty trained myself. I got myself up for school by myself. Like, I am used to doing things by myself. And that was also a protection and defense mechanism that I had. Like, you leave me, I'll make you leave me before you actually leave me, because I'm fine with being alone. Like, I don't give a fuck. I got this. Like, fuck you. You want to bounce? Bye. Bye. I don't care. It's all a defense mechanism. It's all smoke and mirrors. I actually give way too many fucks. Nobody wants to be alone. And on your journey through, because entrepreneurship and building your business is like one of the deepest forms of shadow work that you could ever do, right? One of the deepest forms of shadow work that you could ever do. I've learned so much through my business and my soul work and been able to touch thousands of people. And I've watched so many women come out of SIREN like with their businesses built, with their first clients on the books, talking about their offers and their work with ease and grace and flow. It's just rolling off the tongue because they know what they're offering. They're not trying to put together something that they think sounds good from that creator and that creator and that creator. They found their unique soul medicine, because we all have unique soul medicine. Every single one of us has unique soul medicine. Every single one of us. The industry is not saturated. Okay. Some people think like, oh, there's like too many tarot readers. No, the fuck, there's not. We are a dot on Instagram's the higher ups in Instagram and their little graphs of like what's trending. The spiritual community we're a fucking dot, babe. There's more than enough room for everybody to eat at the table. More than enough room. Okay. Oh my God, I'm getting on a rant here with you guys, but like I'm speaking from the heart, right? This is my third time opening up SIREN, and it has been so beautiful. And I've done group courses before, right? The Divinity series, throwback, shout out Divinity series. Divinity series, oh my God, hundreds of women went through that. Hundreds of women. And now we have SIREN, and like we need as many light workers and spiritual workers and star seeds and Akashic Records readers and Reiki masters and tarot readers and astrologers. We need rune workers, channelers. We need as many of you helping to shift the consciousness of the collective as possible. Why do you think I went on whole international television talking about my work? I didn't care if I was made fun of. I didn't care if I wasn't believed. I didn't care about that. What I cared about was shining a light to the folks that need this soul work, the folks that are exactly like you and me, that are like, holy shit, there's more of us? I thought it was just me. I didn't know there were so many of us. That's who I did it for. So, going back to how I got to the point where I could just podcast with you on my bed for a living, I kept on keeping on, you know? Nothing is going to be given to you, my friend, my babe, my loved one, my family member, right? Inside of SIREN, you're going to have to do the work to see the results. But I guarantee you, if you do the work, you'll see the results. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. You show up for yourself every single day and you commit to the work inside of SIREN, you will see the results. This, I promise you. I promise you. And so I kept on keeping on and I kept showing up and I kept building and I kept learning, right? I kept taking clients. I kept refining my craft, my magic. I kept refining my offers. I kept doing my shadow work. I kept investing in mentors. I kept learning these platforms, right? These website platforms and these editing platforms and these social media platforms and the analytics of it all. I kept learning all of that. I kept learning what you guys wanted from me. I kept asking you guys, what do you want to see? What do you want to know about? I kept creating community around me. Some of my best fucking friends I have met, you guys know who you are. I have met online through StarseedShadows, through this motherfucking phone. Whether I met them inside of a mentorship program, whether I met them through networking, whether I met them just online in my space, whether they were a past client, some of my best fucking friends. Do you see, babe? Building your business is priceless. SIREN is a priceless experience. You are priceless. Your medicine is priceless. It's just beautiful. It's all just so damn beautiful. But yeah, and now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Hey, no, for real though. Now we're here. Now we're here. Now we're here. I am just growing by the minute. I'm booked and busy. I am delivering my soul medicine to so many individuals. I love what I do. I'm in deep gratitude every day for what I get to do, and I want the same for you. I want the same for you. So, babe, I'm talking to you, friend. If you're somebody with an idea, or if you're somebody that's ready to invest in mentorship, ready to invest in you, ready to grow, ready to sit in the expansion, this is your invitation to join SIREN. The link is down below. Do the application, book a free clarity call with me, and we will talk about where you are and where we can get you. Stay tuned for part 2. Part 2, we will talk about the sacred SIREN process next Thursday. I love you, babes. And remember, what you desire and deserve is always right within your reach. Don't forget to leave me that 5-star review and share the episode. Big love. Hello, friends. I hope you loved today's episode. Make sure you share it with a friend, share it with somebody that you love, and tag me on the gram at Ashley Michelle 90 Day and let me know your thoughts. Leaving that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify is literally what helps this work get to the right people. As you may or may not know, we are in the middle of a spiritual revolution, and us being able to get our hands on resources like this podcast and others is what is literally going to make the world go round. So do me this favor and please leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and share the episode with somebody you love. It really, truly does mean the world to me. I love you so very much, and I will see you in the next one.